Live from the internet and recorded on May 17, 2018, this is the Crystal Chronicles, your Final Fantasy Dissidia Omnia podcast. This is episode number 10 of Season 2. Can you believe we have already done 10 of the... Well, 9 and today's will be 10. 10 of these.
10.
My name is Pierre, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host. That would be Mark. Hey, Mark, how are we doing tonight?
Very good. Happy 10th anniversary episode. It's not really an anniversary.
That's the thing. So, there we go.
The 10th episode. Yeah.
How was your week?
Pretty busy, but still got some time to find a way to finish, not just do, but actually finish all of the... I don't even remember what the event's called. The Spirit of Salvation missions. I completed all
2 million points?
1,600,000 points.
Wow.
Yes.
Hey, on
15 missions.
Before we get started, in the last few shows, I talk about how I was a big Forge and Fire nerd and all of that, and I've got something to show on the stream. This is my very first creation. It's ugly as sin. It's terrible. It is a butter knife. But I made that myself from a rod of steel. So, you know, as terrible as it is, it's mine. I've done it. It didn't exist before. It exists now. So I said I would show it on the stream. So there it is, butter knife made by.
It does look like a butter knife for those who are listening at home.
Oh yeah,
It is metallic and it is butter knife shaped, and it seems to have some type of edge.
Yeah, it doesn't cut anything.
It is not a katana, so it will not remove your limbs as you're trying to get butter. So yeah, I say that's a victory.
So
that's a win.
So there we go. That's
very good.
Yeah, I mean, got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So what's the next? What's the next progression after you master butter knife? Do you go to like daggers, short swords, axes?
I would probably
plows.
Try to do like a steak knife or something just for kicks.
Steak knife.
But
steak knife seems natural progression.
Definitely, like a small dagger at that point is something I would really Crocodile Dundee. You call that a knife? Well, actually, that's. A butter knife, but yeah. So no, seriously, I'm super happy with the fact that I did this with my little coal forge that I built. So there we go.
That's pretty cool.
But Dissidians, you're obviously not listening to the amateur Forge and Fire podcast. So let's move on to the things that you really want to know. After PAX, the Dissidia Omnia crew are going to be at the big E3. So if you're going there for some reason, you might have a chance to ask a question to the big guy. That would be the producer of the game, and I'm going to butcher his name big time. Jin Fujiwara. So Fujiwara-san would like to answer some questions from you, the players. And you can post them, I believe, on what's that?
On Reddit.
On Reddit. Oh, really?
On Reddit. Yeah, it is. And if you go to their Twitter, it links you to Reddit. So there's some Square employees on that Reddit, on the Dissidia Final Fantasy Omnia Reddit, which is a little different than previous game Reddits that we've been involved in. So. Yeah, there's a post, I think it's stickied or pinned, whatever they call it on Reddit, at the top of that subreddit, the Dissidia Final Fantasy Omnia subreddit, which I believe is Dissidia FFOO, if you are not familiar with that Reddit. Pretty good. There's not a lot of garbage there. So, yeah, so if you want to submit your question by May 21st, then there is a chance... There you go. That was the buzzer to remind you that you got to get your thing in by May 21st. There's a chance that Jin Fujiwara would answer that for you.
So
yeah, so very cool.
So Fujiwara-san, with all respect due, here's my question: when can we get you on the show? Because your social media crew will not acknowledge your existence yet, but we'll keep trying. We'll keep banging at that door. We'll get something out of that. So that's for E3. If you go there, if you take pictures with the Dissidia crew, would like to definitely see that, you can send it to our Twitter at FFTCC podcast. You planning a trip to E3 this year, Mark?
I am not, but we just got the news, I believe yesterday, that Star Wars Celebration 2019, which is the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Celebration, is going to be in Chicago. So,
oh, wow.
We're very, very excited. Not sure how that's going to work out, but
so you're already getting
always wanted to go.
Already getting prepared for that?
Well, we're thinking about it, so we'll see.
What does that celebration exactly entail? What's happening?
So Star Wars Celebration is the very large fan convention that started 20 years ago. Since then, Disney has obviously bought Lucasfilms, and it is like the Star Wars destination event of the year. So it's been in the last few years. It's been in Anaheim. It's been in Orlando. Yeah, it's been in London. It's been in Tokyo. So yeah, it's a huge event. I mean, it's a massive event. You know, you want actors from the movies. You know, you're going to get, you know, there are collector panels. There's droid builder panels. There's, you know, all of the armor cosplay folks. The Star Wars community is massive. All around the world, especially big in England and the United States. So, but yeah, so it's just a good time. A lot of Star Wars stuff.
What's your take on the Solo movie? You're gonna go see that, or?
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
I've heard. I haven't been following the thing. I like Star Wars, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. But I've heard things on both sides of the fence regarding the Solo movie, something about how maybe I believe the original maybe producer or something was thrown out because the movie was going to be garbage, and they somehow recouped that whole thing. Am I getting this right?
Yeah. There was the original directors were Lord and Miller, the guys that did the Lego Movie and 21 Jump Street. I mean, good directors, but they're comedian, kind of slapsticky. So there was some things going on, and so Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilms, fired them and then got Ron Howard. So Ron Howard finished, and Ron Howard is obviously amazing. Worked with George Lucas on American Graffiti, and obviously worked with George Lucas on Willow, and obviously Ron Howard, besides being in Happy Days and when he was Opie on the old TV show, but I can't remember what the name of it is. Anyway, that was well before my time. But, directed Cocoon and Apollo 13, and he's directed all kinds of great movies. So, yeah, I'm not worried about that. So, it looks good. Yeah, Star Wars is probably my number one fandom. So,
yeah, well,
very
with that Lego you build, it's easy to presume that you're, somehow a Star Wars fan.
I just got, again, we're way off the rails now. I just got my Lego VIP card in the mail today, so I've been waiting for that.
Does that give you like discounts at the Lego store, or?
Yeah, it just means I've spent too much money at the Lego store.
Oh wow! They acknowledge your existence by giving you a VIP card.
No doubt.
So,
no doubt.
I see you're all happy and smiley and stuff, so let's ruin that right now and talk about your co-op frustrations that have been going on recently. So you've been using them bells to do a co-op a lot in the Seymour event because you've got those million points and everything. And from what I can gather, not all of these fights went really well, did they?
Yeah, so I'm done with the Seymour event. I'm at 1 million points on the Sabin event. So, and I've been having problems with
the buzzer.
Bells, yeah, I've been having problems with that too. I've been having problems with actually using my bells. Like I will host a game and not find anybody, but then I can guess for whatever. So I've been doing a lot of guest battles here when I've had the time to do it. So the Seymour event, not very difficult. 40 to 50,000 points should be very easy. The Sabin event, which we're going to talk about today, we're talking 80 to 100,000 points should be pretty easy.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not a difficult event if you pay attention to what you're doing.
So that 100 points, 100,000 points,
Yeah,
that's with a team of 3 Sabin, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. We'll talk about that.
No, I know,
later.
but it was an easy one.
Yeah, geez, that was rough. I was going to see if I can find my. Yeah, so my high score in the Sabin event is 102,093 points.
Do you believe that's the highest score you ever got, all co-op combined?
Yes, co-op. My high score in Seymour was 55,705.
Okay.
So, yeah, so here I have a couple tips. I was going to expand this into other things because I've been really griped up at. I've been going in. I've been like random guest, like for people who really shouldn't have been doing 70 co-op, and I've been helping them beat it, and so I'm fine with that. But here's just a couple things. There's no reason not to have either Chocobo or Sylph at level 11, right? So we've said that before. So if you don't have your Chocobo or Sylph at level 11, stop what you're doing and don't do anything until you have one of those at level 11, right?
Side question. I have my Chocobo at 11, but I've been trying to level up Sylph, and the problem I'm having is that with some of the materials required for Sylph, let me go real quick, because I figure maybe other players are having the same problem.
Yeah, sure.
It's the stupid sticky liquid that I'm totally out of, and I've been running.
Little sticky liquid.
Yeah, it's the for those who are watching us on Twitch, it's the 1-star material that I'm missing, and everything else. I mean, I've been running the Ifrit orb thing like crazy. The Leviathan one, I've got all of those materials, but it's the freaking sticky liquid. Do you know where to get those low level materials?
Specifically, sticky liquid chapter 2.
Okay, so you just redo the same.
Yep. So just find a easy level in chapter 2, and it should drop in any of those. You'll probably drop in higher levels. Maybe stage 3. Trying to give you an answer here. So it's chapter 2. What would be stage 3? Would be over. Where did you start? Where do you start chapter 2? Yeah, plane. Oh, that's 2, 3. Yeah, Plains of Old Part 3. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. See how that goes. I'll try it right now and see how it goes while we're doing something.
All right,
but yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but yeah, I mean, just you can look if you hold down on the thing, you can see where it can be farmed.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering if there was somewhere else where it was dropping in larger quantities, but there again.
Yeah, I think if you spam 6-6, you can get most of those pretty easily.
Yeah, it's the good old trick of 6-6 in hard mode.
Yeah, I just got some liquid. But yeah, it's not going to be in very vast quantities. So, no, it's tough. Obviously complete all of the missions, the regular missions, because you can pick up some of that stuff just from the regular gameplay. But yeah, some of that smaller quantity stuff is a little harder to go. But you should easily have enough for at least one of them, right?
No, definitely. So
one of the two, if you've played through the game. So I mean, it's just such a big difference between that 10 and 11. Shoot the dryer here. Another thing. So there's a few things.
Okay, so 1, Chocobo Sylph at level 11 or no co-op.
Don't do co-op.
Okay, number 2.
I guess. pay attention to the enemy order and their action order. So if you got like CBA, don't break C, break A. I'm thinking about the 3 ghosts that we're fighting right now, right? you know, unless there's some reasons not to do that. Especially if you're playing on a team with Cecil, maybe you should make it so Cecil goes before some other players. So if you got like Cecil and 2 Tituses, which is ridiculously stupid, make sure if you're playing Titus, every time you press an action, you know where you're going to end up. Because if you keep putting Cecil on the back, you just ruin the idea of having Cecil on the party.
Yeah, it kind of loses
and we're going to talk about that here in the second, the summon gauge. So I would say just pay attention. There are some reasons not to break in order, and there's specific things, but generally speaking, pay attention to where you are in the action order and where the enemies are in the action order. Don't just randomly attack things, and don't move before you look and see where you end up. You bump other players, you cheat people out of turns. Okay, that stuff's kind of gross. So, finally,
point number 3.
It's okay to get broken. Yes, I know the game seems to be set up so that you won't want to get broken, because a lot of the game missions are don't get broken, right? The game kind of teaches you, oh, don't get broken. Getting broken is bad. Well, in co-op, when you're trying to beat the boss in 8 turns, which you can do in this current event, get broken every once in a while, especially if it's not going to mean you get killed. The reason you do that is your summon gauge. The idea behind a quick battle co-op is to increase the summon gauge faster. That's why you use Chocobo or Sylph, because they have the fastest charge rate. Now, attacking, Brave Attack, HP Attack, those just do normal, like a normal set gauge increase. Getting hit by an enemy, attacking an enemy, that's just standard gauge increase. If you break an enemy, that's more of a gauge increase. If you knock an enemy back, and then in knockback, it's even more of an, so that's why Cecil's so good. Because if you knock back an enemy, it's a huge increase in your gauge. And if you have a chain, so if there are other people that can, brave or HP attack, that's an even bigger increase to the summon gauge. So 1 or 2 knockbacks, and you can be a full summon gauge. This is true of bosses. If bosses break players, you get a huge increase in your summon. So if you're spending the first 3 turns brave attacking because you don't want to get broken, stop brave attacking. Especially if you're, Vincent and you've been, at max brave for the last 3 turns, right? I mean, it's just exceptionally frustrating to watch people who are at max brave continue to get just not HP attack because they don't want to get broken. Now, there are certain situations like your Leviathan EX battle when you want to get the don't get broken thing. I understand that. That's not fast co-op. This is a co-op event that can be beaten in under 10 turns very easily. Get broken. It was the same with the Seymour event. When the first turn the guy like hit somebody or did a self buff, and the second turn he did a all attack. Yeah, if 2 of your people got broken, that was pretty good, right? That helped increase your summon gauge. Maybe all 3 was dangerous because then he could follow up with another attack, but 2 of the 3 was fine. There was no problem with that. So again, if you want to get more points, you get more points, so you have to do less grinding so you can get all the prizes. Please. It's okay to get broken. It's okay. It's okay.
You're
I give you
be all
permission.
Right. Okay. We've got Mark's permission to get broken, so break and be whatever. I was going somewhere, but I think the dryer's talking to you.
Oh, it has like 14 buzzers. I'm not really sure.
All right.
What's happening?
So Mark's co-op frustration out of the way. Let's move on to Mark's frustration with Sabin with the event, the Runaway Prince, introducing Sabin, the big Fraser Musker guy, the big bear. We call that in French an armoire à glace, and it really poorly translated in my head. So sorry about that. So Sabin is awesome, and you should use him all the time, right?
You should spend all of your mithril and tickets to get him fully limit broken.
I actually haven't seen a single Sabin in
either.
Like not even fully limit broke. No Sabin at all in my in my list.
Oh no, I have co-opted with many Sabins.
Fully limit broke?
I don't think I've seen a fully limit broke one, but I have co-opted with many people with his gear.
But he's good against ghosts.
Yeah, I believe that I mentioned that. He's not at all. Like you'd think, like Sabin. He's just so here's my disclaimer. I love Final Fantasy 3 or 6, depending on where you were born and when. It was 3 for me. Originally, obviously, it's 6 technically.
3, close to my heart.
In my heart, it's always 3. It's a great game.
It's
right?
the best.
I mean, it's just an amazing game. Edgar, Sabin, great characters. I mean, the guy can suplex a train. That's amazing, right? Square seems to hate him. Like in every game that we've ever had, he sucks. I just don't like I understand maybe there should be some characters that suck like Waka, right? Like I give Square permission to continue Waka sucking forever. But
Waka's okay,
but yeah, I don't know what the Sabin hate is. It's just really bad. He's just bad. I mean, his moveset is terrible. It doesn't work together. It doesn't do anything. There's no synergy. There's no interesting mechanic. He's got a terrible brave attack and a terrible brave and HP attack. And his attack, it's not like, there are other characters like Tifa. She has some passive abilities that increase her ability to do damage against skeletons, right?
Yep.
But that's a passive ability. This is built into his actual command abilities that he does extra damage to ghosts, like the rarest and dumbest enemy type of game. Now, yes, it makes sense because of the Phantom Train. Yeah, right. Okay, I get it. That's fine. I don't know why it couldn't have been a passive ability. The sad part is, even with that, fighting 3 ghosts in a boss event tailored to him, he still doesn't do any damage.
Wow.
I have been with so many 50-50 Sabins with at least some gear tailored to him that still cannot break those stupid ghosts with his attack.
Maybe because it's a group attack. Maybe it's the power spread all over.
But their brave is not initially that high, right? And this is like the one thing it should do. I mean, it wouldn't be too broken to say, Sabin, you could just kill these ghosts. Because you'd think, like, oh man, a Sabin or 2, that'd be really good. You kill these ghosts. No, it's awful. It's terrible. I've played many of the co-op games with Sabins in the party, and they're just, even with the buff. So I mean, he gets a buff in the event, right? And his weapons get buffs in the event. And even with that buff, like the event buff and the ghost buff, he still is not able to break these stupid ghosts that aren't that powerful. It's just sad. I just, he's not like a first 25 character either. I mean, we've had many different 10, 11, 12 event characters, and they've generally gotten better and better. And now we get poor Sabin, and he's just garbage.
So I guess your recommendation is don't pull on that banner. Just skip it altogether.
Yeah, and it's a terrible banner.
I gotta say, I totally agree with you. I somehow I got some
It's
stuff with tickets on that,
a terrible banner.
but even there, it's
I mean,
like I got
I
Warriors of
like.
Light 35 CP sword, but when am I gonna use Warrior of Light?
Well, there are going to be times in the future when Warrior of Light is helpful. So he's like the prize. His 35 is probably the best on that banner, but right now he's not particularly useful. There are going to be events when I think he really shines. This is not one of them. Do not bring Warrior of Light into this co-op. I'm telling you right now, that is my number one pet peeve. I've never seen a REM. But if I see a REM in co-op, I'm going to play it just to see what disaster happens because it can't be good. She has nothing. She has nothing that could help in this event.
Well,
and Warrior of Light has nothing. So
the whole character selection for this event is
it's ridiculous.
Random at best because I mean, Sabin, like you said, doesn't do that much damage. Warrior of Light is good at sitting somewhere and getting hit on, and Ram doesn't really do anything. So
I've played with Warrior of Lights. I've played with one or two Warrior of Lights. I actually did a co-op with 2 Warrior of Lights.
Oh, that must have been painful.
It was not. Again, I did not host that, but I'm like, okay, I got to see where this train wreck is going to go.
Did you beat it?
It was terrible. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. No, what did I do? I just did one where 2 of the characters died. Yeah, it was Sabin, Vincent, and me, Squall, and 2 of the characters died. We did beat it, but yeah, it's not good. There were better options. Now, obviously, you have 3 enemies, so Laguna would have been a good option. I mean, they're weak to ice, to water. Ferris would have been a good option. I mean, Laguna's from the 25, so that would make more sense than Ferris. I don't know in the 25 who does Holy. Does Rem do Holy? Is that why she's in there? I don't even remember what her other move set. No, it's swap turns. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's completely useless in a super fast event. But yeah, so what's Warrior of Light going to do? He's going to use Shining Shield on all 3 of the party members. Well, there's 3 turns and 30,000 points wasted because I really need my defense up, or I need a shield blocking these terrifying ghosts. No, you need DPS, DPS, DPS until the cows come home. So the good news is you don't need banner characters to play this event. You know who's good on this event? Yeah, obviously we're just kind of skipping ahead here. The Ghost Brothers, they're the enemy. If you've not played this, there are 3 of them. They're weak to all kinds of things. Don't worry about it. They're weak to water. They're weak to holy. Maybe no. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Like, I should bring Leviathan. No, you shouldn't. Just bring Chocobo. Bring Chocobo. Bring Sylph, and just finish this. I literally 8 turns. 8 turns is the fastest I've beaten it without Cecil. So that was a non-Cecil party. Squall, Preesh, Titus, maybe. I'm not a big fan of Titus in this event just because he doesn't do the same kind of damage that Squall does. Man, I just...
Laguna?
Yeah, I've seen... Yeah, no, Laguna didn't do real well because, Laguna and Vincent, here's the problems with Laguna and Vincent. They have nice AoE attacks and they have good Brave generation, but they're doing debuffs. You don't need the debuffs, so you're wasting things on that. And they don't have HP attacks.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so you really want characters with a Brave HP attack. I've seen Terra, but again, Terra's not really good because you're wasting turns charging.
Yeah, the trends, the chant.
So again... I mean, you really need to think. I mean, Yida, maybe. I think you could probably get away with, even lower levels. I mean, yes, a Sabin or 2 is not going to kill you on this event because his HP attack is not terrible. But if you don't have anybody else, Sabin can be fine. But if you have other options like Ramza, I've seen people bring. No, don't bring Ramza. Like there's no need for buffs. You don't need to waste 2 turns buffing, right? You just We're talking 8-turn win. 10-turn win.
Fastcard has a good point on Twitch right now. He says the timing of the Leviathan event is unfortunate because people think that Leviathan is good for that co-op, where it's kind of not the case. So
because, well, I mean, just think about it. You're not gonna charge Leviathan in 10 turns.
Yep, not gonna happen.
15 unless you have a full Cecil party. You are not charging Leviathan in an appropriate amount of time. Now, I mean, if you have 2 Cecils and, a Squall, maybe you could get away with it. But at that point, you probably, you don't need it, right? That's the point. You don't need it. So
altogether, pretty easy event if you
super easy
get the right characters in there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm already at 1,000,000 points.
That's crazy.
So, I'm over halfway done with the event, almost 2/3 done with the event. And I'm leveling up Sabin. Like I said, the good news is if you're a Sabin fan, and I am, he's not one of my favorite characters, but I like him. His awakening will make him better. His awakening will not make him particularly great, but it will make him usable if you like him and you would like to use him in the future. I was going to pop on. I don't have the things in front of me here. But I can tell you what his awakening. So he gets a speed buff. Nice. Aura Cannon goes up to 4 uses. Extremely raises its total potency. Like they added that in there. Extremely raises its total potency. Like they realized, oh, this sucks. So it should be better. Yeah, go figure. Afflicts the target with holy resistance down. Oh, wow, that's cool. That's better than attacked ghost damage. Turns Brave Attack into Brave Attack Plus for 4 turns after using Aura Cannon. Brave Attack Plus deals more damage to ghost. Okay. Then he gets a moderately raises max Brave Attack while buffed at Crystal Strength 58. I think last week I said when we were talking about Awakenings 70. Awakening is level 60.
Yep. 60.
Crystal Strength 60, level 60. That's the next thing we get. I'm sure we'll get 70 at some point. And then Aerial / Extend moderately raises Aerial /'s potency, moderately raises Brave damage dealt when there's only 1 target, afflicts all targets with wind resistance down. Wow, that's cool. Triggers an AoE HP attack after the Brave hits. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, maybe that's what those weapons should have done. HP damage is divided equally amongst all targets. So you can see, I just like that. Extremely raises its potency because we realized we gave him a Brave HP attack that blows. And it's just terrible attacks. Like 200-300 damage. Like in this event. Like his attacks are doing like 200-300 damage. It's ridiculous. It's sad. I feel sad for poor Sabin.
So if you've got that completion OCD, level him up and put him on a shelf and forget about him for a few months.
Yep, mine is level 40, so he'll get there.
Getting there. One thing that came by and went are the half-price weekly banners, because we had a new weekly banner come by this week for Laguna, Layle, and Sazh, and what would you know, I was all excited. Oh, I'm going to pull on it. It's half price, and nope. It's a full-price banner, and while there's a new gun, it's a 15 CP new gun for Laguna, which is, not half bad. It's still a full price banner. On my end, it was still a risk to get yet another of stupid Sazh gun, so I skipped that banner entirely because it's not half price and I don't want more Sazh equipment than I have right now. But your recommendation is passing on it as well, right?
Yeah, if it was half price, I would have considered it because Laguna's new 15 CP weapon's decent. And I don't have Layle's either of his weapons, so again, he's good. He's got his niche, so poor Sazh is Sazh. But yeah, for full price, I don't think this is a banner worth pulling on, very truthfully.
So let's see. The new gun is Hellblow gun. It raises the party ENT, Brave, and Speed when Laguna's HP is at least 50%. So, yeah, it's not half bad. It's
it's a nice party buff. Yeah.
Yep. So
nice passive.
There it is. So maybe if you've got some what's it called, raffle tickets, you might want to give it a shot, but keep your gems for now. Not really worth the whole thing. It's actually not worth more time than we're passing on this. So let's move on to Trials of Leviathan, the big fish. His moment to shine, and basically Leviathan is a fish, so it's water damage during the summon. Blessing is bravery regen once HP drops. He is a slow and normal speed summon when he gets over level 11, so kind of like Ifrit, Shiva, and Ramuh. Any special thing to say about Leviathan? Is he as useless as Ramuh, or?
No, he's a little bit better. I mean, he does give you, what is it, Brave regen,
yep.
Right? Yeah, so you get Brave regen when your HP gets low, so that's okay. It's not as good as Ifrit or Shiva, but it's better than Rama. Again, it's water, so this is an elemental boss, so if you need water, not in the Ghost event, but, in this event, like the Leviathan event, obviously he's going to be the guy that you want to bring. I'm not sure when or if there's going to be a time when we start using the bigger summons back in co-op. But obviously for now it's all Chocobo, and so it's all about speed, because the faster you beat the boss, the higher your score. So that may change. You have to talk to our Japanese players about that, but for now it's not going to change. But as we have events and other things that have non-co-op events that have big bosses that are weak to water, he's going to be your guy.
So if you want to level them up throughout the event, farming for the 1-star and 2-star materials can be done either in the event itself in the first bosses or from part 3. The 1-star, 2-star, 3-star aqua material from part 6. 4-star aqua from clears and missions. But again, what I did a couple of times on my end was just clearing the bus. What's it called? Maybe let me just check real quick. It was I cleared Trials of Leviathan Part 3 a few times, and I had like 999 horns for 1-star and 2-star. So it's just one of those no-brainers that.
Yeah, you can't. You will not receive the 1 and 2-star horns after part 3.
Yep.
So So if you need those horns, go back to part 3. If you need anything else, try to. If you can do part 6, do part 6. If you're struggling, then obviously you got to be at part 4 or 5. But part 6 is going to give you the best overall chances of the highest output on the aquas, 1, 2, and 3-star. The problem is sometimes you're going to get 100 1-star and or even 53-star and then no 2-star for like 3 times in a row. So it is random, so you got to be down with that. But
so the buses are 2 Iguians. Is that how you pronounce it?
Iguian, yes.
Iguians. They're weak to water, obviously. Hurt and Oli, and basically you gotta burn one down as quickly as possible. I believe that's the strategy to do. But again, there are options like I believe your recommendation was to say you said you can overwhelm them with your 18, but there are options like Ferris debuff water damage or Vanille Dispel or Yuna Asuna to deal with their different buffs and debuffs. But speed is the key here, right?
Yeah, well, so I've only done the EX battle, so that's what we're talking about. The level on EX is level 70.
Yep.
So I've only done that once. I just had a chance to do it before because I just got my Leviathan up to level 15 like an hour ago. So I've only done it once, and I got KO'd. I got broken and KO'd like my second to last turn.
Oh.
So Terra got broken and killed, or else I would have cleared it completely, which is sad. But I brought my fully limit broken team. I was gonna say my fully limit. No, they're all fully limit broken. So I brought my A team. I brought Squall, Terra, and Ramza. Basically had Ramza support up for the first few fights, and then Squall and Terra, and then I brought a Squall, I think, as a friend, or maybe I had a Tidus as a friend. I don't know, somebody, a damage dealer. Yeah, and as soon as I got to the last fight, basically hit Leviathan. I brought Leviathan with me. Hit Leviathan and basically killed one of them, and then started on the other one. The problem is when you kill one, if you leave them both alive, you're in trouble. But if you kill one, the other one buffs, and he gets all kinds of self buffs. So if you wanted to try to play it safe, you could bring Vanille. Like I could bring Vanille instead of Ramza, and probably that might be a better option for me if I'm trying to get the no KO, no breaks. And so she can wipe all of his buffs out, or at least two of them here in 2 turns. Ferris, I think, might be a good option with her debuffs and her water damage attack if you have a good Ferris. But I think at the end of the day, you try to bring your best characters and just do as much damage as possible, and you'll be fine. So I didn't find it too difficult at level 70 with obviously with not level, because again I've been playing co-op with like level 35 Sabin with Crystal Strength 20. I go, why are we doing level 70 co-op, people? Not everything's for everybody, right?
Well, it's kind of funny because to do level 70 co-op, they had to clear the level 50 stage.
It's true.
And it would make sense that they did not clear the level 50 stage with a level 35 Sabin in their ranks.
That's very true. I had not thought about that. Yeah, because often some of the level 50 ones are slightly more challenging even than the actual bosses. So
either they did that level 50 boss on co-op and someone ran them through, or
maybe right. Yeah. There you go. So, they just co-op the entire way, right? That could be.
Yeah, that's very possible.
I have never co-opted the non-level 71s. I guess I could see how that goes. Seems like a lot of time.
But the iguanas, basically, how hard is it in your opinion, to clear without getting any breaks? I mean, those battles are rough.
Yeah, I'll have to try it again and see, because I just wasn't paying attention when I did it just now. I was just trying to see how hard it was and have information for the show tonight. I don't know. It might be tough to do it without getting broken, but I don't think so. I mean, you kind of go into that first fight and kill one of them almost immediately. So it's just going to be kind of the patience to get you're not going to get a high score, right? But, you're just going to have the patience to not get broken. Having somebody like, Aiko or Ramzo that's regenerating Brave or HP is going to help with that kind of thing. Or even Hope. I mean, there's potential you could bring Hope to prevent damage. I don't know. Warrior Flight. Shining shield, shining shield, shining shield. Don't break me, bro. Yeah. I know. We'll see. I'll tell you how it goes.
All right. So we'll talk about that next week because the event will still be going on. So.
Yeah, 12 days.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Well, Pierre's left. There he is.
All right. Apologies about that. I had kitten problems. The cat wanted to get out of the room and was boxing the whole. We've got a little cat trap in the door to our room, but we had put like a little door in front of it. So now he's moving up the stairs, and my money is that he's going straight in my daughter's room to start and break some shit. So. Freaking cats. Okay. So sorry, those of you on the audio, that must have been weird. So moving on, question of the week: who is your favorite Final Fantasy villain? Uh, I just want to know for that question: are we talking on the Dissidia aspects or Final Fantasy, the games as they were?
Final Fantasy in general.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because my number one guy is Kefka, but boy, did they make him weird in the whole Dissidia environment. I don't like what he turned into. He's like some kind of goofy slapping my ass clown, and I don't like it one second. Seymour and Cypher are still in the CD as empty as they are in the games.
Yeah.
There's no depth in any. Actually, I don't think there's been any real depth in any villains since Final Fantasy VI, but maybe that's just me.
Well, so I was thinking about this because the Avengers Infinity War just came out, and I won't spoil, Lord, if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it
by this point, but so I'm not going to spoiler for anybody. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe has gotten some flack for, and to be fair, with the characters they have. Like, I'm a huge Iron Man fan. I grew up reading Iron Man comics. Iron Man did not have the best stable of villains to choose from. Like, Fin Fang Foom and Evil Santa Claus. Like, I literally have the Evil Santa Claus comic. I like, Ghost and Spy Master. There's like a lot of espionage folks, but so the MCU's kind of struggled in depth of villains. They've had Loki's obviously very well liked. The Black Panther villains, Killmonger and Claw, were great. And then Thanos. Thanos is wonderful. Thanos is just a great payoff as a villain. A villain who tries, it's a villain who they try to get you to commiserate with, or at least to kind of listen, even though he's definitely the villain, to try to kind of understand his point of view, even though it's twisted. DC has great villains. Joker, I like all the Batman villains are great. And so we've been watching, just thinking about villains in general. My youngest son is into Batman right now. So we've been watching the 1990s Batman animated series because I have some of that on DVD. And that show did a really good job of kind of building the villains. So making you understand, okay, what's, as opposed to the old Batman kind of goofy stuff, making you understand the villain. So what's motivating, obviously, Mr. Freeze. That's a good example. Like Mr. Freeze was a total ridiculous joke in the comics at the time the cartoon series came out, and that they made him like this character that you automatically cared about. In Catwoman and Harvey Dent, Two-Face, and like all these characters had these like really, like even Mad Hatter had these really like deep kind of personal struggles, these reasons that they kind of went over to the dark side. So, for the most part, Final Fantasy villains, so I was trying to think through the kind of list. Final Fantasy villains kind of go into some simple tropes, right? So, I mean, you have Garland, which you get like zero experience with Garland, right? You kill him, and then all of a sudden he's the villain, right? So that's the other thing with Final Fantasy. You never know really who the villain is. Then you kind of go, you have kind of your I'm crazy evil for the sake of evil, and then you have your I'm just like, cloud of darkness. I'm this entity, sin, right? I'm this entity beyond whatever. Even Final Fantasy 15. I won't spoil if anyone hasn't played it, but because it's still the newest of the group. But he's kind of this ancient Methuselah kind of guy that's been around right forever, and the ultimate boss at the end. And so he kind of has this kind of power. So, so yeah, that's cool, but it's not. There's not a lot of depth. So so I was thinking about Cypher. There's a little bit. He's kind of your nemesis, right? And then you have like Sephiroth and Kuja. I think are kind of in the same camp. They're not born evil, but you kind of learn about why they went evil. But they're both like oh, this isn't the way I thought it should be, immediately their reaction is destroy everything, right? It's like, oh, I was lied to. My mother is goo. I should destroy this entire town.
My burger is cold. Let's swipe the restaurant.
That is some people's reaction to that kind of stuff, and so I don't want to take away. I think I like Sephiroth and Kuja as villains. Those are two of my favorite Final Fantasy games, and I think they're great. But again, you don't really have a lot of sympathy for them, right? So who's my favorite villain? Keeping all of that in mind, I like Gilgamesh quite a bit. Because he's just kind of like this guy who's, trying to do what's right and trying to kind of, be the best he can be. And he's goofy and over the top, but he's not the main villain either. But I like Gilgamesh. He's much love for Gilgamesh. I love Edea, of course, but again, she's really not the villain, is she? She's one of my favorite, the sorceress Edea.
Yeah, but and again, you can't spoil a game that's been released for so long, so let's just say it out. But can you really consider someone a villain when they're being brainwashed and controlled?
Exactly. So, yeah.
Because she's badass. Edea's badass. When she throws that rod of ice throughout Squall's shoulder, I remember that cinematic, and it's so awesome. But there again, when there's someone pulling the strings behind, it's kind of loses its whole thing.
I really do like Kuja. I may like Kuja a little bit more than I like Sephiroth, actually. I just like the story. It's just an interesting story. But I really like the judges too. I'm not a big fan of Vayne. Vayne is the villain of Final Fantasy 12. Again, he's kind of this Gladiator-esque, Phoenix, what's his name from Gladiator, the bad guy in Gladiator. He kind of has that emperor mentality,
Commodore?
right? Yeah, like he's the, he's going to be, I'm going to bring peace by, destroying everything, right? And without any backstory behind it. Like that's what Darth Vader did, but you get a lot of backstory, right? So there's this whole group of judges that are kind of the bad guys in that, and I love that world. That world is amazing. The Final Fantasy 12 world. So Final Fantasy 13, that whole boss, that was stupid. I know. I like Final Fantasy 13 too, but the evil Pope, I wasn't super excited about.
Yeah, I guess it must have hit.
It's too close to home. We've had plenty of evil popes. Historically speaking, current pope is great. I'm a big fan, but there have been some real winners in the pope regime. So yeah,
I used to listen I actually listened to a series that was done a few years ago called the Final Fantasy Retrospective. And there's one part where they talk about Kafka that I like. He says, he's not some hellbent guy, some guy hellbent on revenge or a lost kid. He's just a sick and twisted human being.
Yeah.
He's just, he doesn't need a reason. He's not out for anything. He just wants to get powerful and kill people. He's just crazy, and it's the not simplicity, but it's kind of what I like about him. Like he's not trying to pretend he's got that whole huge scheme going on, and kind of like we're gonna save the world by destroying it. He just wants to destroy it, and then we'll see. Maybe a vacation to Hawaii or something.
What's gonna happen? Let's see it. So I guess give us some more interesting villains.
Yeah.
And I think they've tried. Now, Kingdom Hearts really did some good stuff with their villains, but it's kind of another series.
You mentioned in the show notes you had a couple of villains in there. You mentioned Jack. I didn't get at the end of Final Fantasy X, but to me, Jack isn't really a character. He's just a douchebag kind of dad. But do you see him more at the end, or?
He's technically the villain. He is Sin.
Yeah, he's Sin, but he's a huge
But
whale.
he's not Yu Yavin. Yu Yavin is the villain, right? So the final boss is Yu Yavin, who's just like a little spirity thing. But yeah, Jet is kind of the villain. I mean, Sin is kind of the overarching thing, the catastrophe, the disaster. But I mean, Jet is Tidus's villain. He's Tidus's antagonist, right?
Yeah,
This
but you
abusive.
don't see him throughout the game. You see just a clip here and there, and you
Yeah, no,
piece
right.
him up as a, again, douchebag, no heart, drinking, beating, fodder kind of thing. And you suck, and I'm gonna be better than you, and that's all there is to it. So, but again, I'm
Well,
missing a
but no,
chunk.
yeah, you're missing the flashbacks between Braska, Jet, and Oron. So there's a whole part of the game towards the last third where they start finding these memory spheres that Jet has left for Tidus, and they give it. It's basically Jet is recording a video, and so it tells you basically now that Jet is in their world in Spira, he basically turns around. And he's gruff and he's rough and he stops drinking and all that kind of stuff. But he makes the right call, at least the right call that he thought at the time. And so he kind of redeems himself.
But how is he a villain then? That's my point. The
No,
villain
no,
is
right.
not Jack, it's Sin.
Again, he's not the villain, right? But there's obviously this father-son antagony. So I mean, he's not right. He's not the villain, but he's a character that has a little bit more depth than the villain, because the villain is just this nameless thing, Yu Yavin, right?
But my point is just in Final Fantasy Record Keeper, and even in Dissidia, in the Japanese version where Jack has already been released, I believe. Yeah,
You do fight him. I mean, that's you fight Jet before the fight. Like you fight Sin, then you go inside Sin, then you fight Jet, and then you fight Yavin. Yeah,
okay.
so
So
you
you
do fight Jet.
actually you actually do fight the human beast kind of thing.
Well, you fight, yeah. So to beat Sin in the story, hi Kitty. To beat Sin in the story, the summoner had to summon the final Aeon, and the final Aeon was basically one of the guardians and the summoner's life force combined, but really the guardian became the summon.
Okay.
So Jet becomes Braska's final Aeon, the BFA, right? And so he becomes that huge kind of monster. And so, yeah, Tidus has to kill him once they're inside Sin.
Okay,
And so
now I see.
once they do that, then the Sin armor starts, breaking down. But to really stop the cycle of Sin, they have to kill Yu Yevon. Yeah.
Okay.
So they do.
Now I understand.
And the only way to kill Yu Yevon is to summon all your Aeons and kill them. It's a little convoluted towards the end of Final Fantasy X, I'm not going to lie, but it's an emotional roller coaster.
And then I heard
Yeah,
some
great
hero
ending.
dies.
Well, kind of. He really never existed, so I don't know if he can die because he's a dream.
Ah,
Technically, Tidus is a summon, so he's a summon dream.
that's
Like that,
interesting.
his whole existence is the kind of dream of a city of summoners. That's his whole. So when they finally killed Yu Yevon and Sin once and for all, and that whole city of summoners that's like trapped in stasis, they could pass on to the Farscape or the Far Plane or whatever that place is called. So then his world disappeared. The world that he knew, the Spira that he knew disappeared, and therefore he disappeared. But then at the end, the very final cutscene, he reemerges. So.
Yeah, I think the whole point of Final Fantasy X2 is that Yuna tries at some
Yeah,
point.
let's never speak about Final Fantasy X2.
Why?
Ever.
I didn't
'Cause
play it.
It is a nightmarish hellscape.
Is it?
Where Waka and Yuna or
Oh.
Waka and Lulu are married and have a kid, and
Is he called like Waklulu?
Yuna's a gun wielder, and that part's cool. But yeah, the game is not great, and she's searching for him, but she doesn't really find him till the very end, and it's almost exactly the same cutscene from the end of Final Fantasy X, just with like 30 more seconds of him like coming out of the water and everyone being there and saying, "Oh, Tidus, you're not a dream, you're a real boy," and
like Pinocchio.
Like, so just go watch that cutscene and you'll be fine. You'll not have to play that game. Yeah.
Did you play the sequels to Final Fantasy 13? Or are they as bad?
I did not. Some people really like them. So some people like X2 too. Final Fantasy 13-2 and 13-3. I was Sarah and Noel, right? That's the guy, the time traveling guy, or the guy from the future past. I don't know, with the weird sword. Yeah, and then Lightning with her crazy armor in Final Fantasy 13-3. But yeah, no, I did not. Right. But we did say, so going back to villains, we did say that we would tell you what the upcoming villains are in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. So here are the list of all of the villains. Obviously, we can argue about who's a villain and who's not, but all of the non-hero characters, let's put it that way, that are going to be playable characters in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia in the next year. So the next one, and it's going to be a while before we get him, is Kuja. Then Cypher, Raijin, and Fujin are one chapter. You get all three of them at once. So, yes. Kefka, finally. Sephiroth, Jet, and Gilgamesh. And that's
I think Gilgamesh was just recently released in Japanese.
Yeah, Gilgamesh, version, so. Like a month ago. Yeah.
So we're still ways from having him.
Yeah, so next week, question of the week.
Question of the week next week. Do you force yourself to do all 10 Crystal Cycle quests every single day? So let us know how you do it, and we'll talk about that. It's a huge deal for a completionist and OCD person like me, but we'll get to that. Upcoming event in 3 days, we'll have Will of the Dawn introducing Krile. Any news of Chapter 8? Do you know when that's going to drop? Like, if ever?
So we had Seymour, Sabin, Krile. So yeah, we should get, and we had a lost chapter, so we should get Chapter 8, I would assume, within the next week or so.
Lightning!
Yeah, that would be Lightning, Papa Lemo, and who else? Some other dude or lady.
Yeah, something. All right. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this one up?
I think that's enough.
That's enough. It's an hour and 2 of good content. So that was our show for this week. That was episode number 10 of the Crystal Chronicles Season 2. If you want to reach us out, you can send us an email at kupo@tccpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at FFTCC Podcast. We're on Facebook at The Crystal Chronicles. Like our page, follow us. It's super great. Other than that, all of our social media links are at tccpodcast.com. We try to record on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday. Sometimes it's moved for reasons, either events not starting or family stuff or obligations, but it's always fun to have you on Twitch when you are there. Otherwise, that's it for us. So we'll see you next week. Have fun, and keep saving those gems for real events with real characters that are not total garbage. So thank you and have a good one.